Women have evolved to have narrower pelvic floors and babies have bigger and bigger heads, so it causes a ton of birth-related issues. Yeah, when you think about the fact that we walk upright, right? So when you think about other animals, right? Their hips are not rotated, right? Their hips they point downwards, right? Our hips had to rotate for us to be able to stand upright, right? We're kind of bent the wrong way. And that gives us a maximum on our hip width. And then you add in the fact that we have these huge freaking brains. We have these huge, enormous brains. And that means big head, little hips. It's gonna be a nightmare getting the baby out of there, you know? If there's one thing I feel like we all know about the whole thing, it's that, like, giving birth is really hard and painful. And so obviously I'm scared for that, but like, I feel like I'm scared in the way that, like, I'm not ready, no one's ever ready. You're pretty sure you would never have learned this in your life, but it's still good to know. Yeah, no, I feel like it's good for everyone to know. You know, when I think about it, there was a time when everyone would have just kind of been exposed to birth and to death, right? These were just kind of things that happened around you. They were things that you were aware of. They were things that you, like, interacted with people through the immediate, you know, lead up and aftermath of. But then now it's something that's kind of very distant from us, right? People die at hospitals and we don't really see that, right? We're not often around our loved ones when we lose them, and we're not often around when the people around us have babies, right? And so birth and death are things that have become, I feel like, kind of more obscured than they used to be. People used to have like 12 kids because half wouldn't make it. I mean, it's a slight exaggeration, but it is true. The birth rates used to be way high, the death rates used to be way high. Infant mortality rate specifically used to be way high. That and the birth rate is tanking. I mean, okay, it's complicated, right? It's not really tanking. It's been dropping pretty steadily for a very long time. We are, obviously as a planet, not even close to under replacement rate. So to say that the birth rate is tanking is not really true. However, we are under replacement in some countries, right? And we are nearing being under replacement in others. And I don't know, I learned about this way before I feel like other people did, because I took a class that was like super fake. Okay, so do you guys know the AP classes? It's like IB, but for Americans. And yes, I know that IB is also for Americans, but AP is more common here. So, AP classes. Some of them are dumb as rocks. And I took one called AP Human Geography because it was fake and I knew that I would get a 5, that's the good grade on those, without having to do any work. But, incidentally, I did accidentally wind up doing some work. So I was familiar with the population pyramids and the shapes of those graphs for a really long time, right? Like, we learned then and there that, like, America would be close to or under its replacement rate if not for immigration, which was keeping our population growth really healthy and keeping our population curve healthy. So, like, I've known that since I was a kid. I feel like now people are having this like weird like emergency thing where they're like, oh my god, the birth rate is tanking. And it's like, this has been happening for years. We were tending in this direction, right? This was happening. This has been happening for so long. And I think babies are cool. And I think more of them would be good. Malthus was so wrong and his ideas did so much damage to our ideas about children. Okay, yes, Malthus was very wrong. So Thomas Malthus was a guy who believed basically that the population would keep increasing, and because the idea was that food production increases arithmetically. You know, you plant a field of wheat, you plant another field of wheat, now you have 2 fields of wheat, right? But that population increased geometrically, right? His idea was 2 people have 3 babies, each of those 3 babies has 3 babies. Now, suddenly, right, we are increasing at a parabolic rate, right? We're increasing. Dude never looked at population responses to stressors, and he had no idea how much humans would innovate. So when you think about the fact that his whole theory was grounded on the idea that human population grows exponentially, but food and resources only grow arithmetically, that's not true, because our technology has enabled us to get so much more food out of the same area of land, right? That actually has increased exponentially. So his idea was that human population go up exponentially, food go up arithmetically. Big problem. And this was actually a more recent problem even in our history, right? So mouth is quite old, right? That's an old issue. But yeah, Neo-Malthusian movement, the population, what was it called? The population something, the population bomb or something? There was a book that was published that was really, really popular that basically had the idea that, like, see how many people there are? More than ever. People are having so many babies. They're gonna have all the babies. No, it was not called the baby boom. It was called the population something. I think it was the population bomb. Let me look it up. Yeah, the population bomb was a 1968 book co-authored by former Stanford University professor Paul Ehrlich and former Stanford senior researcher in conservation, whatever. But yeah, the idea was, again, that, oh, we're gonna overpopulate. And, like, even for me, I feel like when I was growing up, I was way more exposed to the idea that there are too many people on Earth, they're using all the resources, that, you know, we're not gonna be able to keep up, there's too many people being born, someone has to do something. Like, I was way more exposed to that idea than I was to the idea that there weren't enough babies. But then, in this class, I learned that, actually, no, not at all. Would we ever have to worry about genetic diversity? Probably not. We're pretty diverse. And diversity is not like a fixed resource, right? We're developing it constantly, right? Every baby that's born is introducing some genetic diversity. So unless people are like artificially bottlenecked or isolated, we have to worry about genetic diversity less than ever, because instead of people marrying their cousins because that's who lives near them, people are marrying people, you know, that they meet in college on the other side of the world, right? So in some ways, I think we have to worry less. So in school, like in this class, I was for the first time exposed to the idea that, like, people are not overpopulating the world, and we need growth to support growth, and it's actually a good thing to have babies being born. And there are all kinds of things that make it difficult right now to have babies. I know a lot more people who want to have babies than I know who are having them. And I know for me personally, being myself, I would love to have babies. like if I lived in a situation where I could go to school and have babies and, like, know that I would get to do both and that these opportunities wouldn't be limited and that, you know, I probably would be, like, trying to get on that. But because that's not really an option with the other things that I want to do right now, it's much harder, right? And I don't know what the answer is. I know that there are a lot of smart people working on this. Ellie would be such a good dad. Thank you. Thank you. This is a reference to when I was little. We had to write down what we wanted to be when we grew up, and we had to write down, like, our top 3 options, and I said I wanted to be a dad like my dad. I just didn't really understand the whole thing. But anyway, yeah, I'm gonna be an excellent dad, I'm sure.